Okay. I wanted to give you an update on what I've been doing. And you guys can remember that I made all these copies. Sorry, everything's shaking right now. And I'm in the process. Yesterday, I got these all put together, and they aren't perfect. They don't need to be perfect because this is just me testing where things are going. Um, and now I'm in one of the benefits of having a couple of copies made is I have the ability to make one, see what's going on. I have another one that I'm gonna do some adding on to and make a second one just to make sure. But then I can also do notations about what needs to change and why. So I'm in the process of doing that. You can see here I'm writing out notes for different things. Um, some of some of it's just really there's some pieces that need so little done to them. It's really actually kind of nice. I was telling my husband, I said a lot of the Nandor Haunty pieces, which I've decided I think that's going to be the first of the bedroom that I'll release, um, came together. The changes I did worked out really well. This is the bed, and I'm just noticing that that looks really. Let me polish it. There we go. That's better. Um, this came together really nicely because I had changed around how the back pieces went together. I made them with a fold. I like how the draping came out here. And now I think I want to make a piece that kind of looks like a pillow, but will be a fold and place that will go right on top of here. I think the only change to this one, I'd written some notes on this one that I need something to reinforce because you can see it's starting to kind of bow a little bit. But everything else worked out really well. Um, and let's see, there were some more Nandor pieces. This is the little nightstand. I think the only notation I had for this one was I need to make this too thick. So you can see here how nicely those go together. And I think the little pillow thing will be really nice to put there. And then, let's see, here's the little bookcase. I think the only change for this one is I'm going to remove this top and make it a separate piece that gets folded and glued on. But the rest of it looks really good. All of these, I didn't bother to put bottoms in all of these because some of these are just so simple to make a bottom piece that I'll be including in a pattern. Some of the other bed stuff, this was the Monier piece, and I was the most excited and kind of like, I'm not sure if this is going to work. So this is like the little stripy mattress, and I realized it doesn't look good with that. So I think I may change and do something different with the mattress, put in an interesting pattern or use some fabric that I really like. There's some things here like this little piece, these rounded pieces, I need to figure out how those are going to go. This piece, these pieces in between, this needs to be cut out. You can see here, I cut it out on the back and then was trying to figure out how, like, part of it is sequencing. How would I do that? And this is two pieces of, if I can get that close enough, two pieces of copier paper, which is about 20-pound paper, and then like a 30 to 40-pound paper, two pieces, and it's not quite enough. One of the big things with this is the side rails. I need to make these much, much deeper to give some more stability to the piece. Plus, I think what I'm going to do on the side, because I kind of like where this is and then the mattress hits, I think I'm going to add another element that comes off of each of these. And I've written that down in my notes. This particular piece, the little mattress, I'm going to adapt. I did two of these Mary Frances pieces. And the part that I was really intrigued by is this little ridge, this little lip that actually came together really nicely and very easily. I like that for something if you're going to put a little mattress in it, which I think I really want to do. I think that I'm going to do that for these pieces as well. But the mattress is going to be a little bit different. I also did the ends of these each a little different. I ended up liking this version much more, where I extended the design down. This is with those tabs on the outside, and I just think it looks like garbage. So I'm not going to do that. Plus, I need extra pieces on this because this is just, you can tell it's kind of warped and yucky looking. I'm going to make these just a little bit longer, and I finally figured out what I wanted to do to make these look not like crud. They look like Lego bricks right now, and I just don't want them looking like Lego bricks. Let's see, I think that was it for the beds. Then there were some pieces in here like the 40s. I call this the 40s artist unknown pieces. I made some changes to this one. I'm going to change that bit there too. I'm going to add this detail to here. This is going to be flipped around a little bit and extend up. It's going to look much nicer. I think this is the only piece I made, this little chifforobe, that I don't have any notes on. It, like, everything came out exactly as it was intended with the little double fold top. Let's see. Let's move on to some more chairs over here. I really thought this chair was going to be a complete bust, and it's not. I'm so delighted about it. I do need to add about 2 millimeters to the seat, which is not a hard fix. Plus, this is part of the Victorian furniture, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'll do some other things. I thought I was going to hate these little curves, and I just think they are the most darling, sweetest little things I've ever seen in my life. So I am super pumped about this chair. This is another of the Mary Frances pieces. Sorry, I keep shaking everything. It needs a backing piece. I need to add front rails to this, which seemed like when I'm looking at the originals, I'm like, the front rails could have been added so easily. And then this weird thing about these not fitting completely. And then I went and looked at like the reissue, and they made no changes to fix any of this. And all I can think of is this would be so disappointing to build and then have it fall apart. So this is going to get a back piece like this other Mary Frances one. I'm just going to do a back piece that extends past from here to here because I like this, and I can add a rail on here. The Nandor Haunty chair, the one that like started all of this, the changes I made to it worked so well. Adding this back piece on, yeah, chef's kiss. I've also figured out what I want to do with this underneath. This is going to get changed just a little bit and get a supporting piece underneath there. But everything else, all the dimensions and everything are working. There are a few little bits and pieces I need to fix that a little bit right there. And I'm going to change some of these curves just a tiny bit to make them look a little bit better. But I'm like super pleased about that. The desk, which I combined about 7 different ideas. I have minor tweaks and changes that I need to make, like making this a little wider, making this part in here just a smidge smaller. And I'm trying to figure out, I think I'll add back bracing and side bracing after it's built, and I'll do that with toothpicks. But I'm pleased with how this is coming about. I have another one I'm going to build, and then this is the part that would go inside. I like the idea of having a little recess in there. So I'm going to make some changes to this and give that another whirl. The piece that I was the most nervous about, and the one that just... seriously, not a whole lot of changes. I need to take about 1 millimeter off the length of this separate piece. I need to add a couple of millimeters here. I'm going to make these legs just a skosh longer. Added in the little shelf. I like how all of this turned out. I may add in, maybe not. I didn't want, because in the original, it's just a snap and fold together. This was all one piece, and this is now separate, and I may not need to figure out how to do some kind of transition here, because I like the black on that, because we've got black here and here and here. So I'm pleased with how that turned out. I'm really like super pumped and pleased about how this turned out, and added on some little extra tidbits that I think look really nice. So this is going to get some changes. I also did some pianos. This is the Hans Christian Madsen one. He has several variations of this throughout the work he did with Illustrated Family Journal in the late 1800s, early 20th century. So this kind of took me a second to make this work, because this is a recessed keyboard. I kept there's part of my brain that wasn't getting that last night. And I have a couple of things where I made to make a few things a little longer and finish up some decorative pieces. And then I think I'm going to add in some crossbars here, some rails, just to give it a tick more stability. And of course, adding a piece of cardboard in the bottom will help that too. And this is going to be lovely, because I can just put that right on top of there. So I'm really pleased with this piece a lot. One of the other pianos, which kind of made my brain hurt, and I'm glad I got another copy of, because I used the cruddy copy to do this one. You can see there's bubbles and stuff in it. I got the piano keyboard positioning wrong, because this is one of the few pieces where I had some, it's like, I do not understand where this is supposed to go. And I understand that in the design and the illustration that I'm looking at, that this is where the music is supposed to go. So that, I mean, I know enough about pianos, but then there's part of me that's like, why is this here? Why is this here like this? And it's because I need to move some things around that I did it incorrectly. This is the little top piece that has like little extendors. I think I would probably get rid of those and use them for use toothpicks to do that. But I love the idea of being able to open this. So I'm gonna do a little bit and figure that out. I had some little trimming pieces that I needed to do, and of course this is supposed to be open. So there's some size things and some things I need to move around. But I love this little piano, and I want to do this one and the Hans Christian Madsen one again. So the one that I kind of fumbled together, this is the this is based off the Doris L. Lyons Howard piece, and I got some of the measurements wrong, because you can see the keyboard's going upright. I don't like this. It needs to be recessed. So I just need to go in and change some bits about in that. And there might be part of me that's like taking elements from this and adding it to this, and coming up with a hybrid in between them, which I think would be kind of cool. Let's see. I did another a bureau. You can see how that is not glued straight. This one turned out really nice. I still need to fix these. I don't know what it is in these Mary Frances designs. I just absolutely hate these. I don't like them. They're just yuck. So I'm going to change those. This was a table. It was flat when I went to bed last night. You can see now it looks like a Pringles potato chip. This was another Mary Frances design that seriously did not work. I part of me is like, I don't understand in these books. Kids, if I were a little 10-year-old that didn't have the experience that I have now, I would be so disappointed with how these turned out, because I had to do some chopping around and then some reinforcements because of all these stinking open tabs that allow air and like you can see through them. So I've made some notation for this. Most of the time for tabletops, I use gray board, that gray book board, chipboard, because it won't warp. So I like the design of this table. I'm going to keep it. It just needs to be redone. I had done some redesigning to this little kitchen chair because I didn't like how the angle of the back chair leg. So I changed it out, and I mistakenly kept this seat part too small. So I just need to move this out about 3 millimeters, and it will match up perfectly. And I'm terribly pleased with it. The back, everything matches the way it needs to in the back. The splay is correct. I'm I don't know if I did that accidentally or I was really super thinking about it. The other piece here, this is the sink portion that goes along with, where'd it go? This is the part of the Florence set, the Florence gas ranges. These need to be taller. I need to add in details. I think I'm making this sink too long. Need to add a front piece. I need to add a backing piece that will cover the entire bit here. That's nice and strong. And then it needs countertop pieces. And then I've decided I'm going to take these and make some wall-mounted ones as well, which I think will look really nice. This is going to be cut down severely. This is going to be, I'm going to chop probably a third of it off because it just doesn't look right. So, oh, and then here, my little range, I changed the little burners out and added some pieces here. I think the only big change for this one is I want to make this part just a little bit bigger. In the real world, I probably will end up backing this part here with gray board to give it a bit more dimensionality because I want it a couple of millimeters thick, but I don't want to have to, like, you know, fiddle around with folding something like that. And I would love to have this as something that can open. It needs to have some things added here. This is the little, the refrigerator. I kind of made it a little bit more 40s and 50s. The problem here with this is I don't like that it's square. So in my notations, I'm going to see if I can come up with one that's a curved top, which shouldn't be too hard. And that should be interesting. With the curves, this right here is another one of the Doris Lyon Howard pieces. And the original piece, and again, pardon me, I got to get something to drink here, my coffee. These were not meant to last. This was an activity that was done in the schoolroom. So the measurements were off. So I fixed it. I added in some better, what I thought better little foot pedals, and then added a bottom to it to give it way more stability. And then I was thinking, oh, can I just turn this into, I think what I want to do is I want to turn this into like a curved chest, or one that's got like a half of a decagon, I guess you would call it. So it would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces, and then a little latch here, and then it would open like that. So that's something I'm going to mess around with too. But yeah, I think I covered everything that I built. There's some pieces that I haven't built yet that I'm going to get to today. And like I said, I've got notations for everything that I'm doing, sketches for what I want to change and how I want to change it. Like looking at these beds, going through here. This I didn't measure very well. I need to go back in and measure that. And then realizing that there's going to be extra stuff underneath here. Anything additionally that I put in there for support needs to be thinner. This little area just so does not make sense to me as a design concept. So I'm going to be basically taking these two pieces, these separate pieces, and putting them straight together, and then making it so you have to cut like an L, and it will, in the end, look cleaner, be way easier to cut. Because I got to admit, that was just, I kept going back and referring to the originals, and I'm like, how in the heck is a little kid going to be able to do this? And I know those Mary Frances books were like back in the day when kids didn't, kids actually did stuff with their hands, but this is just too complicated. I'm also, the one of the things that I'm going to try out for these is I'm going to be adding, I just drew a big curve. There's some other things I might like to do in here that will make this just look so much better. And I think part of that is me getting more comfortable working with curves. But also just kind of doing my own thing, which then brings me to the point. Like I in talking with my husband last night, what is it, Ship of Theseus? At what point does this piece, which I took elements from 1, 2, 3 different pieces, and when I say elements, some of it's just the idea of, I wonder if I can do this. At what point does this cease being a Nandor Haunty piece or a Florence gas range? Pardon me. And when does it become my, things have been changed and repeated and moved. And there's part of me that's like, I'm so adamant about the fact that the artists who originally did these pieces need to be acknowledged. My assumption is that Margaret Hayes, who did illustrations for the Mary Frances books, did these. She's going to be acknowledged. That's my husband. He just brought me a cough drop. I'm going to have a Halls right now. That should help. Some of these pieces, like this Victorian piece, when I look these up, I'm able to find online, like libraries. There are a couple of different places in Germany and France that have these, and I can look up and see what's on the original Imagine de Epinal print. And all of the artists are listed as, they don't know. They don't know who the artist is. At this point, when I'm starting to change things around, is it mine now? Or is it someone else's? Monier, whoever he or she was, designed these, but then I'm starting to make more and more changes. I made huge changes with the designs here on the backs of the footboard and the headboard, and now I'm going in and making big changes to the side rails and how these things are put together. At what point does this become my work? And there's part of it that I'm still really super uncomfortable with. Even the anonymous lithographer or illustrator who did this for pennies or whatever over 100 years ago, who got their money, but there's a part of me that knows that this originally was someone else's work. And my father, the lesson for, it was okay to copy, but don't call it your own. And there's a part of me that still is like, there's an idea of, I fused this together somehow with the realization as a child, while I was one of my hours-long perusals through the LP, the liner pages, and the jacket and everything for Sgt. Pepper's, when I realized that John Lennon and Paul McCartney were the writers of the songs, most of the songs. That's not to diss Harrison or Starr. But that they wrote the lyrics and they wrote the music and they sang the songs. And for me, there's something about that being that kind of original that makes this seem like I'm doing something wrong. But even though, like, through my father, I'm like going, this is me working with Nandor Haunty's work. This is me doing a remix. I still am maybe changing some of this design in here. So yeah, I'd be interested to find out what you guys think about that. Because there's a part of me that feels as though it's not really mine. And it bugs me that for some pieces I can't find, who was the 40s and 50s illustrator who came up with this, who probably did it as an afterthought and wouldn't care if I did take it. You know, what would Doris think of this? You know, I I I just wonder. And again, my little short video has gotten really, really long. So I'll let you guys go. I will have some additional pieces, I think, made up for today. And begin cutting and trimming and doing some gluing for making some additional pieces. Like, I think I want to do another one of these and do some cutting and figuring some things out here. So anyway, thank you for being my patrons. Sorry I had to listen to me cough so much. The cough drop is helping. I'm not sick or anything. It's just I got a tickle in my throat. So I will see you in the next video.